Hey everybody, welcome back to another working video. I'll be honest, I'm out of content. I've said this many times. So I thought, well, I didn't actually think, someone else told me to do this, and I was like, that's actually quite funny. Take a look at now that South Africa is presumably relatively close to being released, hopefully, because I'm really out of ideas. Someone suggested me, well, take a look at one of your previous patch videos to take a look at what you said back then, what you predicted back then, etc., etc. And I'm like, why not? I've seen someone else do this. It was actually Greyhound, said I think it was from a Hearthstone video, and I actually remember myself someone doing that, and I was like, that's actually kind of funny. And since it's either this or like no video at all, why not, right? So we're gonna take a look at the very last balance patch that Wargame got on the 30th of December. You can see it here, maybe, if it's not too small. Very big patch. Good patch, generally speaking. And yeah, back then, maybe, I don't know if I say anything like that in the video, but everyone was really under the assumption there's gonna be more patches like this, or at least one or two more patches, right? Because nothing was known about Steel Division, at least not publicly. So, yeah. I think that's why, even though we were left with some not so well balanced units and nations, I think most people were under the assumption it's gonna get fixed. So it being some of the units maybe still being too strong or something for a while, not a huge issue. So let's take a look.
Greetings, my dude.
And hopefully you will notice whether it's the real Razzmann or the past Razzmann talking by the sound quality. So let's get into this.
My dudes, of course, and my Eugen that I did that.
I think I have this at 1.25 speed. This is a 28-minute video. You can't really see this at the moment. So yeah.
So yeah, let's go through the changes. There were some small starting sector adjustments. I guess I can show that real quick.
I don't remember this.
On Battlefield 1 versus 1.
I know what it was on. Oh, did they increase? Okay, because this is kind of like a guessing game, so I want to see if I'm correct. Did they increase the? I think they moved this one closer towards the edge of the plateau, so they increased the size of this spawn, I think.
And yeah, they enhanced this. They basically added this part of Delta.
Nuclear Winter, I think I know what they did. On Nuclear Winter, they reduced the size of the spawn point on the island, so they can't do a 2-point push on the big island anymore as easily.
This zone here. Let me just see whether you can even see that. Yeah, you can barely see that. I guess I can. We cut this triangle out.
They cut that off because pushing alpha was so easy. And what did they do on Modified?
I'm not even sure if I remember correctly. Modified. And Nuclear Winter apparently is only a conquest version. Modified, they also shortened this a bit, if I remember correctly.
Okay, interesting.
Like,
I kind of agree with this, but I still think the other side is better because they can really push up there. This side can't really as easily push the other 2-point. But let's get into the actual patches and the actual patch.
Yeah, there's just some fixes. Nobody cares. Battle rifle suppression reduced by 5%. It says 5%, but it's basically, I think, just by 5.
Good.
I guess it's a good thing.
Yeah. Battle rifles are basically the best outside of special forces and outside of carbines. But when it comes to standard weapons like SMGs, assault rifles, and battle rifles are still the best, and were already back then.
I want to see Jäger at 10 points. Because
I don't. Not
maybe
anymore.
I'm starting to do that too early, but yeah. Yakari 90 or Yakari 90. They are better than Jäger. They have an arguably better law, arguably worse. They have a side grade, I would say, for force. It's definitely better. They have in tests they won versus Jäger
I think it's a bit inconsistent.
Anti-infantry fights.
With the anti-infantry fights, the KK does sometimes have the edge because of the much higher base accuracy, but of course the MG3 has the suppression and sustain rate of fire and slightly better range, but it doesn't make up for 10%.
Is it in forests?
Pound for pound, I'd say Jäger are probably better though.
And now Jäger,
if they were the same points,
even a slightly bit worse or got nerfed in a very slightly. So please give 10 points. Yeah.
Though, in all fairness, they had and still have worse transports. But still, I don't want to see them at 10 points anymore.
Airbags, I would say. That's all I have to say about this. Stormer. I mean, Stormer.
Past Razzmann, please don't dig yourself into even deeper into the hole.
Should still be good as they were before. Fuck, I can't talk. Should still be good as.
Some things never change.
Still be as good as they were before. Holy shit, what's wrong today? Carbines, I have honestly no idea. Well, I have an idea, but not gonna read it out loud. Basically, Carbines got nerfed and.
I don't know what I tried to say with that. I don't remember the idea I had back then. No idea what it's about.
Got basically standardized into 2 versions, and stuff like the L85 also have better stabilizers now. There's still some exceptions apparently, like the G11 and some oversights and all that.
Yeah, right. The standardized carbines. So I think the East German LSCR 40 right had, I believe, essentially the same. No, they had 533 RPM, which is SMG, 40% accuracy, but full range. They don't anymore.
But basically, carbines
and some other units like
or
that.
are supposed to be standardized into 2.
I don't really remember which units all got affected, but I forgot about some units like
Carbines should be standardized and Bulkheads standardized, because before there were like all kinds of different versions.
Yeah, who cares?
59.
Actually, no, let's go back.
Then we have on Entente availability bonus trailer 10 accuracy on the move reduce and price decrease, which is interesting. Not sure whether I like that. T55s and T59s, CTC59s finally have 8 rounds per minute. This was so overdue.
They're still garbage for the most
part. I really
part.
like this change.
Outside of Finnish T55s.
Probably a really good tank now. Though I still would like to see it with.
Wait, hold on. What did I just say?
Optics. A really good tank now. I really like this change. The Merida is probably a really good tank now.
Oh no, nobody plays this tank though. I mean, if it had medium optics, it would probably see play, but at the moment, no. But even then, not that much. Oh man. Whoa.
Though I still would like to see it with medium optics, even though it might just be.
Yeah, I'm still of that opinion though.
Be unrealistic. D55 variants, accuracy increased, sure.
I didn't really comment on the intent change, right? That's actually not insignificant at all. Definitely needed that they had their availability reduced.
I'm just gonna ignore the ones that I don't even care that much for. RM70, that's the Polish one, I think.
And the German.
Yeah, the RM70 is probably fairly decent now.
Yeah, true.
Aim time got reduced, and the rate of fire increased. I think I haven't tested it yet, but it's probably has the same rate of fire as the Lars 2, which also got.
Also, I think what some people sometimes forget, the salvo reload, right? The reload after each salvo, for the most part, is also has been reduced, or at least is slow on these launchers, which make them so also on top of the rate of fire. So much better than something like BM21s. Because BM21s reload for 4 minutes, RM70s for 80 seconds. It's a huge difference.
Changed. And they're actually fairly decent now, because not only do they have high rate of fire, but the time between the individual shots is so much lower. It's very, very similar to the Plummen. I think they're pretty useful now.
Yeah, they are.
I completely missed it earlier. T34s now fire heat rounds with increased range. That's very interesting. I wonder where the rate of fire got nerfed. Did they always have 6?
I don't remember, but they're still garbage.
Yeah, like.
Hold up, what is this? Centurion. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not gonna.
It's not too bad. The 25 point Centurions are actually pretty okay. So that accuracy increased by 10%. I guess with the very accuracy, maybe they already had that accuracy.
That are not that interesting. You can read for yourself.
They have 40 now. Yeah,
points.
Definitely.
I don't even know. Maybe that's completely irrelevant. Maybe that's a new
irrelevant
spam tank. No idea.
I mean, I guess like if Soviet armor had some better infantry or something, you might see like you would maybe. I can't talk. You know that the kazoo kit or whatever it's called. If you had a dream, if you woulda, you coulda. That's what I'm talking like right now. Like I said, if what I meant to say is if Soviets had better spam infantry or something like that, and Soviets armor was more self-sufficient for 1v1s, maybe T62 spam in the deck, like an armor deck, might be a thing. But without MGs, the cheap spam tanks typically aren't that great. Exception really being just a Jerry tier. Because when you spam a lot of cheap stuff, that especially against like high like shock infantry or like all the medium tanks die to one shot, then you want them to have MG so they can at least pin down infantry, right, at close range, etc.
The ADUM got an armor buff for 5 points, which is pretty good, I would say. It's basically now like an M1 mod with a...
I mean, yeah, that's not very insignificant at all. Like 1 extra armor, 1 extra AP, but most notably 1 extra armor at this price range, at this armor range, very, very big. Especially since this was already 2 per card. So 20 to 21 armor, very, very big.
With an gem for 5 points.
Not so much versus heat, I think.
Pretty good.
Definitely versus kinetic.
Definitely worth it. I don't know how the fight pattern for the MSTA or the Mista is, so I can't really
I
say.
don't know what the old one was, so
whether that's good or
I mean,
bad.
it has a decent fire pattern. Not amazing, but it's okay.
Tunguska and Tunguska M, definitely a big buff
Huge,
for them because the
very
missiles
big, yeah.
reload for...
They used to, as it says, of course, used to reload for 3 seconds between individual missiles, and especially against planes, it meant they very often only got 1 out and get heavily reduced. So stuff like 1 second like the Crital, etc.
The individual missiles. But Tunguska could still use a slightly better missile, I would say.
Nah, it's okay.
A bit more range or a bit more accuracy, maybe both. And then it might actually be quite decent. Tunguska M got fixed. It used to have it used to be able to basically fire through forests at plane and helicopters busted. Without any line of sight obstructions, which means no matter how deep at the forest it was, it would still always have full range on helicopters.
Yeah, this was actually pretty ridiculous.
You could have your longbow not
surprised it took so long for people to figure out. I'm not sure if I probably wasn't the first one to figure out, but I didn't know of it. And then at some point just realized that's the thing. Like I tested it myself and then realized, oh shit. Because there was that one game where somehow Tunguska was able to fire it by longbow, but a longbow didn't spot it at all. So I was like, hold on a second, that's not normal. Then I tested it and then I just found it out. Again, some people might have known before and it maybe intentionally didn't tell anyone because they didn't want to get it removed, which I can kind of understand. But yeah, I remember bringing it up for Lexus well back then.
Being able to spot the Tunguska M, but the Tunguska M spotting or getting the longbow, but it can't spot.
There, I just said it.
Through forest, and it doesn't work against.
Yeah, it didn't spot for itself though, right? It still needed something to spot from outside the forest, which is kind of a weird way it worked. That's probably why I didn't get noticed for such a long time.
Targets. BDR 80 KBVT. Apparently, Eugen doesn't like the 10-point BTRs. I mean, BTR 80 should be 15 anyways. 2 armor and KBVT.
Yeah.
But
5% accuracy or like step increase actually not that insignificant.
As you will...
Not huge, but
or not. 1 second. Okay, never mind. You will see later what I mean. BMVT price reduced. I don't like this change.
Yeah, I still don't like this.
I think this might be incredibly annoying in forest, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. Maybe you saw the video of today.
I still agree with this.
I honestly just used the BMVT change.
I still agree with this opinion. Is what I mean. Like, I still think that was not a good change.
Because it's the most fitting one. I just wanted to have a reason to use this Overwatch video that I found because I found it hilarious. Yeah. ASU.
Hold on, let me pull up that video that I'm talking about. The meme video. Did I have it? Oh no. I didn't mean to click on this. 1 second. I'll have it in I'll have it shortly. I'll have it very, very shortly. Oh, whatever, screw it. I'll link it in the comments or something if I don't forget.
Price increase from 10 to 15. That's very interesting.
ASU used to be
10 points was really strong, but obviously at 10 points, getting a 5-point price nerf.
It has only 6 RPM for the HE gun though.
It's huge. I mean, it's 50% of the price. We saw it with what happened with Jäger. Nobody saw them basically anymore. It's probably a dead unit now.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Not sure if it was necessary. Maybe it was.
It probably was, honestly.
Maybe we'll just see less fire support in general now, which may be a good, maybe a bad thing. It's probably not going to be seen anymore, but maybe it's even a good thing. I can't say for sure.
But it was still a good change, honestly.
What else do we have?
Better that unit than
the
unit
rocket
ridiculously OP.
Like HE smoke.
Okay, it wasn't that ridiculous, but hold on. What did I just skip over?
The rocket switch.
Sure, whatever. Subheresy, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
With HE smoke.
Oh, they had. Oh, Czechs used to have their reservists in Moto. Their 5-point transports used to be in Moto. Interesting.
62cc got price reduced from 40 to 35.
Oh, I'm gonna bring up loving the tank when it used to have medium optics. I'll guarantee I'll bring that up in this video.
Honestly, I think that's a pretty huge buff. The T62cc was actually before already a pretty good. Oh,
There I realized that the medium optics got removed.
I take that back. It doesn't have medium optics anymore because that was the
I
amazing
knew
thing
it.
about it. It was a 40
I knew it.
point T62 with good AP, good armor, decent range, and medium optics, which means it was perfect for like flanks against stuff like autocannon vehicles
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they were just not able to shoot at them. And
I missed the tank, man. It wasn't even OP or anything, but it was just so useful.
the T62 could easily deal with them. And thanks to medium optics, it could more or less spot on its own. So that's really, really nice.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm not sure. I think I would have preferred it to be 40 points with the medium optics, but it was probably completely unrealistic. So
Yeah,
that's
probably like I think none of the 1975 or earlier T62s had like medium optics or like thermals or anything, so
still 35 points. It might be at least in armor decks, maybe really, really, really strong.
nah.
Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Let's move on. China. The Iran now have the Type 61, Type 69-1.
Good.
That's a really, really big buff.
Yeah.
They're probably one of the best
Before that, just a basic RPG 7.
recon infantry in the game. Definitely best of
Sir, I agree, yeah. It still is one of the best.
Red 4, I would say. Um, but that's really only notable China change. And while it's nice, it doesn't fix the problem they have, which is infantry, or one of the problems they still have, which is infantry.
Yeah.
North Korea, the Hwasong-chong.
Oh my god. I was a little racist with that pronunciation back then, huh? Jesus.
But Iglas now.
I completely skipped over the Type 62D. Yeah. Which isn't huge, but there was some niche playing with Red Dragon's Armored. Other than that, I think that's really.
I fucked up. Sorry. Yeah, the Hwasong-chong has Iglas now. Where is it? Yeah, and got prototyped. 5-point price nerf. As you maybe saw in the video recently where I played mixed mech, I completely rolled over the opponent. I think it's definitely a nice change and gives Red Dragon another draw unit, as someone likes to say. Basically, a unit where you could say, "Hey, that's the reason to play Red Dragon. That's that prototype right there." You know?
Yeah, to a certain extent. And with the upcoming patch, it might be even more so. It used to be pretty ridiculous in Red Mixed because it came with Strelas, sure, less range, less accuracy. But but for one, they were cheaper, and in mixed mech, they were mechs, so veterancy, but not being bound to Red Dragons, you got a lot of other strong units. And the other thing to keep in mind is those Strelas had like twice the rate of fire of the Iglas, which isn't shown on the unit card. So they dished out missiles a lot more quickly as well.
That's a really nice flavorful unit that only Red Dragon has, but it's still not enough, I would say. And that's basically everything notable about Red Dragon.
Yeah, the Tokchon 122 thing is probably it's kind of nice, but those are really the two main things.
I'm sad that they didn't get more. I really expected more.
Yeah, I did. And I still did. I still do, kind of. I'm still a bit mad that this was, yeah, disappointed that that's what all they got. When there were like a lot of suggestions on the forum that didn't necessarily require model changes or anything, right? So hurts a bit. Hurt even more.
Especially considering Eugen said they had more planned for a dragon after the last patch. Finland, lots of fixes, of course. The Musti and the Krik are now available to more infantry. Before they were only available to these. Now they're.
What am I talking about? Where is that Musti? The fuck? I don't know where I'm reading it off, but okay.
to all the weapon squads, I guess you could say as well, which is nice.
I mean, those are transports available to mod stuff, whatever.
Same with the KRKK. Luckily, there's an R between the Ks.
Good one, Raz.
That as well. Anything else? All the T72 M1s now have medium optics. They're still shit, to be honest. They could be 70 and would be pretty good.
Still
and
bad
65
times
they would be really
to this day. That 70 that'd be okay.
good.
Yeah.
Like you can compare it to the base T80.
But
T80
for them to be really good, they need to be 65, but at least 70, honestly.
Incredibly strong tank. What do you get? You lose 1 round per minute for 1 armor. Okay, let's ignore the medium optics for now. You have.
I mean, maybe don't, because it's actually a big deal.
A bit more autonomy, less speed, and a bit more accuracy and stuff. But for 10 points, it's not at all worth it. For 70, it might be worth it because you get the medium optics, but still, the T80 is just miles better. So I would really like to see.
Yeah, but admittedly, with medium optics and, you know, more accurate gun but lower RPM, it has kind of a different role as well.
At least a 5-point price buff for all the T72 M1s. That means the M1 Jaguar and the M1 CZ as well. Really, they would be really nice if they got that price buff. Other than that, yeah, all the Igla got exchanged with base Iglas.
Only on the... Oh, the Erikois used to have Igla N2. Jesus. My, oh my. Thank God I don't anymore.
The Crotal they have got a 5-point.
Ah, there's the Mustian KRKK, I see.
Price buff and 5% accuracy buff.
Well, what? Accuracy increase and price reduce? That was so not necessary, Eugen. What the fuck? What the fuck? 60% accuracy is fine, and 90 points was also. It didn't need that buff. What the shit? Oh my god, I don't remember
really
that.
Good. Now it's probably worth the price.
What? It was already before. Idiot. Like, it had more range against planes as well versus the normal Croton. I mean, maybe the price buff, okay, but like 5% accuracy is huge.
Still,
now it's maybe worth the price. Sounds like it's like a mediocre unit. My god, how wrong I was. But I think that's not the worst part, I think, of this video.
Fairly awkward buy, I would say, if you get this unit, because it's good, yes, definitely, but for 85 points, it isn't that reliable on killing planes.
I mean, it has 65% accuracy and more range than other non-radar AA pieces that aren't the Yotzok, of course, or never.
Because of the lack of range.
And yeah, but look the healer range. It's not radar as well, and it's fast, dude.
And yeah,
it even has very good air detection, like radar AA.
That's why it's in 1 versus 1 probably not that great.
Oh no. Oh, I should have set up like a counter for that. Hold on. What is this? Okay. Bad. Hold on. Yeah, I set up a bad takes counter. Was it the only? I mean, like for really bad takes. Like stuff like where I say, oh, the Merida is not good. Let's not ignore that. But like stuff where I'm clearly way off.
Other than that, I think not much.
What do you mean not much? Make 29 price reduced. Okay, that counts as half a bad tag. Okay. Hold up, we're in Germany here. We don't use dots. We use commas for that.
Oh, the MiG-29 now ripple fires. I haven't tested it yet.
Oh, I didn't just now. I didn't even see that it said ripple fire though. I only saw the price decrease.
I wonder whether they basically now fire one after the other directly without reloading. Probably. That's interesting. Gotta check that. Yugoslavia.
Okay, I'm not immediately realizing how strong it is. I can live with, because it's just a completely new thing. No other plane had done that before, so I can understand it not being, hard to guess how strong it is. But still, also there's a price decrease to 110 points, and it's on a lead with R77. That's really good. So I'm gonna give myself half a bad take there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yugoslavia, let's see.
Hellbrand's only one card now. Did the Eggman? Was it the Eggman?
Let's see all the before I go on, let's see this irrelevant. Here's about that. AP changed from 10 to 15. Oh, that's definitely big. But also price increase from 15 to 20. So I guess that's a side grade, honestly. Like 15 points for 15 men. 1500 meters, 1575, I think, meters. Recoilless rifles pretty good, even if it was just 10 AP.
Now it's medium optics, and with the 8 rounds per minute, that's an incredibly strong tank now.
Maybe not incredibly strong, but it is quite good.
Probably needs a price nerf.
Nah, I don't think so.
Probably. What do we have? The 105? Or maybe not. It's definitely a very, very strong tank, though.
It's not that strong.
Definitely. What else we have? M84AN no longer in motorized tech.
I still have the same opinion now as I did back then. Just listen.
I'm really, really sad about this. Entente motorized. It was.
I don't know if I said Entente as a joke or seriously. I'd like to think I say this as a joke.
Not really a strong deck. Let's be real. I played it a few times. Maybe you saw the videos. It was just a nice, fun deck with and you basically played around the 4 M84Ns. That's basically what your deck was built around. It wasn't OP at all, and since it was a prototype anyways, nobody cared that it wasn't motorized really. How do I put this? Like, I think literally every Riken unit is motorized, except for the M84N.
Yep.
It's also very inconsistent. Even the Cobra, which I think was before the only non-motorized Riken unit, got added into motorized. So that's why I'm really sad about this.
But not
again, motorized, it wasn't OP at all. It was a nice little fun deck, and now it's not fun anymore.
Yep. I 100% still agree with this take.
I mean, yes, the T55s got buffed, but it was really fun using them, and I really liked the deck because it had flavor. It wasn't OP. I don't know. I really miss it. I hope they put it back in. Price nerf, of course, was needed.
Yep. I mean, it's so ridiculously good.
Plowman S got HE reduced. I wonder whether suppression got reduced as well. Let me check. I think it used to have the same suppression as the BM24. Seems to have the same one. Because you don't really care about the HE, you really only care about the suppression.
Yeah, mostly.
Lars still has less suppression. I mean, it has lower caliber, but still. Anything else? Oh yeah,
anything else?
the Jackson is also
Hold on. Yeah, okay.
50 points now, but with increased autonomy. Again, it seems like Eugen wants to go away from 10-point fire support. Hellcat and the South Korean Hellcat and the South Korean M36, which still has the alt autonomy, basically being the exceptions. And the Stormy, which is also 10 points now. I completely skipped that. Stormy is 10 points and has more autonomy now. Sava price increased and stabilizer decreased. Okay, decent nerf. Oh, the Never. Oh, that thing got a fucking buff.
I honestly still think it was a buff.
It's a huge buff. It's now very, very affordable. It has a bit less plane range and a bit less accuracy.
Like, look at this, right? You got 350 meters less range on planes, right? 5% less accuracy, but price reduced by 25 and availability increased. That's a buff.
But it's so much more affordable now and has better availability. That's a huge fucking buff, I tell you. And now I can see people crying about it because now it's really strong.
Yeah.
Before, in my opinion, it wasn't a problem. Now it's a fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I agree. Before it wasn't really that big of an issue. Like 110 points, same price as
the twin recoilless rifles got a
Patriot.
suppression nerf and stabilizer removed. I still think it could be 15 points.
Well, I think it's fine. It has only one armor because these days you have like lots of like cheap guns that can one-shot stuff. Like it makes sense, although they are getting nerfed, so maybe it goes away from that. But still, like lots of IFVs and such that will just murder one armor stuff, so it's probably fine at 10. But stabilizer reduction and range reduction, and suppression, I suppose, definitely required or like needed or like a good change. So I think at this point, it's actually good. It's all right.
The Igla ones got changed to Iglas on the infantry squads, not on the Gamma 2 though. That should have base Iglas as well, I think. which basically means more accuracy. Super Garlab has got the veterans reduced and range reduced on the ADGM, though it could probably still get another slight nerf.
Yeah, yeah, it will.
And it's
But
anything here, Delta Force.
whoa, what do you mean nothing else here? Is there really nothing else there? Or how 2 carries 14 rounds with this gun. Yeah, okay. That's all.
And it's anything here, Delta Force. They finally have the card Gustav.
US fanboys have been crying for that for such a long time. I remember that vividly.
How do I put this? Well, it's a nerf, really. Delta Force used to be basically bought for town fights, and they were fairly efficient for it because you only paid 25 points, and they had an SMG which is pretty strong in towns and on special forces. Now they have the Carl Gustav, which you don't really need in towns. So I guess they're more roundy now, but it's probably a nerf. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I still am kind of agreeing with this take. Like, sure, you can better use them for like sneaking around the map, and they don't have the optics or the stealth as like SBS or like Recon special forces have. But of course, compared to let's say Rangers, they have the 30k mage, which is really good for doing that. Still, though, I think they were better before.
All Abrams have medium optics now. Cobra now motorized. Law 80 accuracy reduced.
Yeah, hold on. Let's change that to this. Just ignoring the Abrams optics change like that. A really bad take. Pallet also had in time between shots reduced. Not too bad. It's okay. It still has a not so great rate of fire, but it's okay. In the comments you can see that as well. Completely ignored the Super Cobra being now armed with a seed missile. I said it in the comments there, and I still kind of go by it. It's who cares? It wasn't really that big of a unit before, and it still kind of isn't. It's a fun unit, but not really that relevant. The B150 changes are kind of nice, but also not really that big of a deal. Cobra to Moto is worth mentioning, but again, not really that massive.
Which is interesting. Tornado now is better veterancy, Tornado F3.
Let's go back.
All Abrams have medium optics now. Cobra now motorized. Law 80 accuracy reduced, which
I don't remember this at all, but probably for the better.
is interesting.
Wait, 260. Don't they have? Oh no, they do have 60. It's it's the Apple that has 50, right? Yeah. Okay.
Tornado now is better veterancy, Tornado F3, so it might be worth taking now.
I don't know, what was that about the Royal Wombat? Oh, from 15 to 10. Okay. Not really huge. I still think it's a bit overvalued, right? The 10-point Jeep with 19-25 meters range. But worth mentioning that's where it got buffed to 10 points.
Law 80.
And Tornado 3 to 2 veterans is actually kind of nice. Because it does have 40% accuracy, which is pretty good.
The accuracy reduced, which is interesting.
Sorry,
Tornado
ECM.
now is better veterancy, Tornado F3, so it might be worth taking now. No, I would still take the Tornado F2 because, yeah, that's not really worth it in my opinion. 20 points for 10% more accuracy and a bit more range, and more shot. No, that's not worth it. Super Attendard. Gun removed.
Also, I apparently don't go over the Panther being in moto. Not a huge deal, but I think worth pointing out.
Oh, that's why they removed the gun, which is sad. Sadly, gun removed, but has 2 missiles now. So Eurocore has a very strong IDGM play now. I tested and played around with it a bit. It could, in my opinion, get could get a price buff to 110 points maybe because it's slow and they're both semi-active. But it's in my opinion definitely very, very usable and fairly strong play.
Saw quite a little play, very little play in Eurocore. But probably will see a bit more play now since there will be only one card of Peace Rights.
Then we have Mara 2 pricing availability and cards increase. Sadly, still not available to
Deckungsgruppe?
To Deckungsgruppe. I wish they were available to Deckungsgruppe. But oh well, because literally every other IFV, as far as I know, is available to Fist Squads. The South Koreans, well, you will see that later. Lars 2 now also can fire smoke and has increased rate of fire and only fires half the salvo. I tested it earlier today. It's you will see it tomorrow in the video, also in game. It's usable. Similar to the Plumber, not quite as strong, but also more affordable. It's definitely nice. What VTS1 has autoload and range increased. Yeah, nice, but IDS
Yeah.
price decreased and aim9's reduced from 4 to 2, not 3. Definitely, I would say it's not great, but it's definitely usable now. Cheap, fairly survivable. Yeah, it's useful.
Yeah,
Finally.
decent take still though. Payload isn't too great, honestly.
So really, Eurocore is getting there.
Oh no, Eurocore is getting there, he says. Oh, worth pointing out, the AMX 10 was, like, before this patch, was already in its current state, right? It wasn't this last patch that buffed it to where it is at the moment. Oh no. And this buff, virtually the only thing that this patch affected in current quote unquote mainstream Euroconnects is maybe the Mara 2 availability increase, but that's about it. But worth pointing out, yes, although I guess it's not really a huge thing, but I'm still gonna give myself half of a bad take here. But worth pointing out, and I was not the only one who at that point in time was of the opinion that Eurocore is still pretty bad. I'm not the only one, okay? Others thought that too.
Let me think. I think I only want to see 2 changes now for you.
One of them is obviously Jäger to 10 points, but I don't stand by this anymore.
Eurocore specifically. And that is Jäger at 10 points, which is most important, and the other one, Leopard 2 medium optics. And then I think Eurocore is really,
Honestly, Leopard 2 medium Alex I'd still like to see.
really good now, again, without being broken. That's really all I want to see now for Eurocore.
Without being broken, he says. Oh my. Imagine current Eurocore with 10-point Jäger. Yikes. Oh my god. People should be, back then, some people thought that I was the arbiter of balance. I was essentially the one holding all the strings behind the scenes, doing all the changes. Don't get me wrong, I had a bit of influence, not a massive one, but I had towards the end, like with the DLCs, a small bit of influence because I was invited into the beta testing of those DLCs. But if I actually did have, if I had actually been pulling all the strings, you would probably have to live with 10-point Jaegers ever since. So I guess it probably was for the better that I wasn't doing that.
Chimera. That thing got a huge.
Oh yeah, hold on, what? Chimera rate of fire increase from 67 press series from 120 to 10. Okay, not too bad. It's still pretty mediocre at best, honestly. It's not too bad though.
S buff. 10 points less.
Huge S buff. I mean, it is a huge S buff.
Rate of fire increased to 7. Now, if you compare that to the Challenger 1 Mark 1, for 5 points you get 1 more front armor and 2 more AP. You lose the turret, and you lose the stabilizer. But you are in the vehicle tab.
And the optics.
Which is generally cheaper. And you have more, but you're in the vehicle tab. That's all. And you also have less optics, or worse optics. I think defensively the Chimera will be really amazing. It still doesn't really fill the same spot as the Challenger 1 though.
Yeah.
Because offensively, the Chimera is gonna be really bad, because when you attack move, and especially in forest, and the enemy is reversing, then once you got line of sight, you stop. But very often, while the enemy is retreating, you can lose line of sight, and then you are moving again without even shooting. So that's why I think the Chimera won't fill the same spot. It's strong, and it's probably gonna be really nice in a mech neck, Commonwealth or NORAD mech, and it maybe you would play it in NORAD though, because you only have the M1A1, which doesn't have the same armor as the Challenger, and the HA. I think you could maybe use it in the NORAD deck fairly well. Commonwealth probably not, but it's definitely a nice buff.
Yeah.
Sweden.
Most irrelevant.
Especially here.
Yeah. 103 optics medium is kind of nice though.
No, I got more HP now again. which is nice. All the ridiculous rifles vehicles, M113's got down to 10 points. Interesting. Probably still not that great, but eh. And Zack again got some nice whatever buffs. Oh, the where is it?
Hmm?
This thing here. Got now 2 MGs. I mean, sure. Japan, nothing special.
Is it really nothing special? Yeah.
South Korea, nothing special as well. Here, Yikchawagiban. Chiksawagiban. Genau deploy.
Oh my god, Razzmann, please don't. That's so racist. Okay, hold on. I am playing this on 1.25 speed, okay? Hold on, so you can actually see that I'm doing this. Right? This is at 1. Oh, you still can't see it. This is at 1.25 speed, okay? It sounds worse than it actually was. Okay? Give me a break. I didn't mean to say it like that. I'm sorry. Oh man.
As other nations FIST
So
team deploying an IFV. Yes, basically they get the IFV because every other FIST team also get every IFV. Let's see.
Yeah, going on a rant because Techno Scope are still not in Mother 2.
Let's see it, for example, in Norway.
Let's skip a bit ahead.
They get a Mother 1 series, but what about some interesting changes? Nothing.
Okay, the rest. K200's missing MG edit is actually somewhat impactful because it's a pretty good 5-pointer, especially thanks to the second MG.
West Germany, where they get a Mother 1 series, but what about a Mother 2? Give Mother 2 for Technoscope, please.
It does sound a bit funny at 1.25 speed, I have to say. Also, I don't apparently ignore the K2C3 armor buff. You know, it is a pivots, but it has more armor than the American pivots, which is actually pretty nice because 2 armor against rocket pods, nice. Netherlands, irrelevant, honestly.
Especially here, Israel has some interesting changes. I don't know why they reduced that to 95 points. I think it was very fine at 100.
I still think that's correct.
I mean, at 100, you basically paid 5 points to trade 3 rounds per minute for 2 armor. And then you got more sight and top armor for worse speed. So I don't know why the price buffed it. That piece of shit.
Jesus.
Sorry.
Why was I so aggressive about that?
Maglans are now 5 men and have less missiles. Yes!
Yeah. Wait, hold on. That only happened at the very last patch? Jesus. I mean, they were prototype before that already, but still, it took them so long. I thought it was done a bit earlier.
Really happy about it. And people are probably gonna say, oh, it's Razzmann because of his propaganda videos. I don't give a fuck. If you watch the tournament match of Stauffenberg versus Mr. Ghosty on Mudfight, then you know what Maglans can do. Merkaba transport.
For anyone who doesn't know, Mr. Ghosty started with like 8 Maglans or something, and just in the opener, and just completely rolled, like essentially virtually exclusively Maglan, and just rolled over Stauffenberg.
But another 5-point nerf. Nice, sure. Oh yeah, the Hafits and the Peri can now fire.
I also apparently ignore the fact that it got medium optics, which isn't huge, but worth pointing out.
The move with slightly less accuracy. The missile is not effective by unit stress level while in fight. Or in flight.
Honestly,
so basically,
I still don't really know how that works mechanically speaking. But I assume they gave them the same type of thing that planes have. Because the plane's morale doesn't affect their accuracy, so maybe they also got that, whatever you want to call it.
If you panic it somehow while it's firing, then it's still gonna hit. I guess it's somewhat to simulate fire and forget without giving them actual fire and forget, so it's nice. I don't think it's a huge game changer. Maybe it is. Unlike Pettyfield that can
not a huge game changer, but definitely makes the unit a good bit better.
Possibly really be strong, because that is one of the few maps where you can actually use the range to your advantage, but I still don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all the changes. Yeah, I kind of was a bit confused or during the whole video here. I'm sorry for that.
Anyway, so 3 bad takes. What were they? The Jaeger, of course. The Yorkshire thing. What was there? Was like one other big bad take. Which one was that? Hold on. Let me check the patch notes again. What was the other big bad take that I had? Right, E290. E290 and Jaeger. E290 both being E290 being like mediocre and Jaeger needing to be 10 points. 2 bad, huge bad takes. The other ones being the Eurocore thing, half a bad take, and I don't remember what the other half was. Oh yeah, the Abrams. But honestly, outside of that, I'm mostly still kind of stand by what I said back then. Sure, the what's it called? The Igman didn't end up being that good of a unit. Neither did the Merida. But other than that, still kind of agree with it. Was kind of fun looking back at it. Yeah, and if you never, if you haven't been around since back then or something, you probably never saw that video. So maybe you find it a bit funny too as well. And if you started playing Wargame after this patch or something, then maybe you find it interesting to see what actually did change in the last patch. And yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this different type of video, and I'll hopefully see you next time to whatever kind of video it's gonna be and when. I don't know yet. Later.